Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing something very exciting. I signed up to participate in 8 pen questions, which is a tag created by Simone and Leanne Likes. Basically, they have 8 pen questions that they started last year, and you can go ahead and answer them to give you a little bit of insight on my fountain pen journey. If you want to participate, you can feel free to participate, or you can also reach out to Simona. I don't know if they're still doing sign-ups or not. It was going to be a thing all the way through March, and then it extended into April. Be sure to check the video before me and the video after me as well. I will be linking those down in the description, and there's also a playlist that you guys can access if you want to see all of these. I'm super excited because I know I've just been doing a lot of unboxing videos, and that doesn't really give you guys much of an insight on like how my fountain pen journey has been going, or like where I started and like how I'm doing with it. So I'm really excited to be able to do this today. I had been filming this. I filmed this once before, and then something got messed up with the camera, so I'm gonna do it again, but I'm gonna write out my pen questions and also answer them as we go. Today I am using a Pilot Custom 742 with an FA nib. It has, I believe, platinum carbon black in it. 8 pen questions. 2024. Alright, so question number 1. When and how did your fountain pen journey begin? So my fountain pen journey, it's almost like I had 3 starts. The first one was when I was in college. I went to the bookstore on my college campus, and they were selling these calligraphy fountain pens for art. It was advertised for art, basically, or it was in the art supplies section, and I thought it was interesting because it was something different. I've always been interested in pens, partially because I get pretty bad carpal tunnel. As a kid, I used to like writing a lot, to the point where like my index finger would actually cramp and lock up quite often. So I was always on a hunt for pens that would put less strain on my hands. So I was intrigued when I saw this fountain pen. Now I'm going to peek at some of my questions that I wrote down earlier when I had filmed this the first time. So that was in 2006. Actually, I bought Pilot Varsities as well, and I was using those to take notes in class in a moleskin journal, and surprisingly, the notebook took the ink really well. So, but I didn't know like those were like fountain pens or anything like that. So this is the first pen. It is a Schneider, made in Germany. I think it's a pretty basic introductory level pen. Can you guys see the nib? Look what I did to it. Can you see what I did to it? Oh gosh. There we go. It's tragic, isn't it? I had no idea how to use fountain pens. It came with cartridges, so I plugged the cartridges in, and I just started like applying pressure because I wanted ink to come out, and no ink was coming out. I didn't understand why. I was like jamming it into the paper. I tried to look up how to start this pen, and then the suggestion was like throw it at the page and catch it in this way, like that, to kind of get the ink to come out. I don't know why they suggested that, but I guess that's kind of a technique, but me being a newbie, I just kind of like jammed it in, and thankfully it still writes really well. Let me see if I can find the ink cartridges actually. So I am filming this really last minute, and for that reason, I'm probably not going to edit much out of this, but I guess actually if I try to ink it up right now, then the ink won't flow to the tip and then we'll have that problem again. But these are what the cartridges look like. I think they're actually proprietary. So for a while I used up all the ink cartridges that came with this and then ordered some more, and then that was it. I kind of gave up on these. Fast forward to 2019, I wanted to get into calligraphy. And so I bought Tombow dual brush pens, and I was getting into calligraphy inks like dip pens and India inks, you know, that kind of thing. But what I really wanted was a fountain pen to do calligraphy. And I thought fountain pens equaled calligraphy. So I was really confused when I bought this Pilot Metropolitan and it did not write calligraphy like style. It didn't flex. But that was okay because this was still a really nice looking pen. So I bought this and I bought a bottle of Pilot Iroshizuku Takesumi, still one of my favorite inks. And that was it. I was set. I didn't know about any other fountain pens. I thought this was the only one. I know that sounds really weird, but I was on Amazon and they don't sell that many, or at least I didn't know how to look for them. So I bought this Pilot Metropolitan. I felt really fancy at work using it, but I didn't really enjoy it because at that time it would bleed through everything and every type of paper that I wrote on, and I just kind of gave up on it for a while. Then in 2021, September, I bought my first Hobonichi, and I didn't know about Hobonichis at all. I was bullet journaling at the time, and also this did not work in my Lorstrom journal, however you say that. It would bleed through in that, so I didn't really like it. I kind of like switched from bullet journaling to planners, and everybody was talking about Hobonichis, so I went and checked them out, and then there were people who were using fountain pens in it. So I ordered this Lamy Safari. For a while, I was considering this as my first fountain pen, completely forgetting about these two and the history behind that. But as soon as I got this one and wrote in the Hobonichi Cousin, I was hooked because it is the most smooth writing experience with this in the Hobonichi Cousin with the old Tomoe River paper. Such buttery smooth perfection. And because of that, I have like fallen down this rabbit hole, as they like to say. So that's when it began. I would like to say it began in 2016, 2019, and then 2021 once again. And ever since then, ever since 2021, I've been crazy about these pens. Question number 2. Favorite inks in the beginning. What are your go-to inks now? My favorite inks in the beginning, I didn't have that many because in the beginning, I thought this bottle of Pilot Iroshizuku ink was the only type of ink I'd be able to find. And then I actually ordered a second Pilot Metropolitan because I saw it on Target's website and I saw a deal. How weird is that? Like, Target sometimes sells third-party things kind of like Amazon. So I saw that on there and I ordered one. I didn't really like it. Favorite inks in the beginning. What are your go-to inks now? Sometimes this skips. I think it's my writing angle, but I still really like this pen. So I bought a Pilot Metropolitan, a second one, and I bought a second bottle of Pilot Iroshizuku ink, Compact E. And this one was advertised as Cerulean Blue. Cerulean? Okay, I might cut that out. Anyways, it's a beautiful, beautiful ink. I know it's a fan favorite. So these were my 2 favorite inks because they were the only ones I knew that existed. And it's funny that I started with these inks because after learning that they're some of the highest quality inks that you can get and very, very friendly with your pens, I'm so happy to like have them in my collection and that I started with them. When I like really dived into fountain pens, I got my Hobonichi from Atlas Stationers because I didn't know where else to get it at that time. And then I realized they were also a fountain pen company. So I went and bought a bunch of shimmer inks and some inks that were on sale. Misguided Mistletoe from Ferris Wheel Press. I know some people were against this brand when they first came out because they had such a heavy marketing plan and like exquisite artwork, but I don't know, we didn't know it was still, people were still hesitant to try this brand, but I was drawn in by the beauty of the bottle, but also like shimmery green ink is to die for. I love green. Let me see if I can swatch this one. But I would say in the beginning, definitely a lot of shimmer inks, and I just wanted shimmer everything. I thought, like, what's the point in having ink that was boring and standard when you could have ink that sparkled and changed colors and shined? That's one of the beautiful things. Like, I didn't know this kind of thing existed. So this is Ferris Wheel Press. Oh my gosh. Misguided Mistletoe. I have a feeling this video might end up being longer than I thought it would be. But a few years ago, before I really was into fountain pens, a friend showed me a Reddit post about this ink. I didn't know what it was called, but she was telling me about this color-changing ink, and I saw the video and it actually changed colors. I thought that was so cool, and you don't really see that in calligraphy dip pen inks, and I also didn't know how it could change color, but eventually I realized it was this ink. This is the Jacques Herbin Emerald de Chauvoir. It is also a well-known ink in this community. So I was stoked to get this in my collection back in 2021. I think she had shared this with me in 2016, and actually I reached out to her to let her know, hey, I finally acquired ink, and she was like, I think you're the wrong person. I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, yeah, well, I remembered because I'm a weirdo and obsessed with stationery and this kind of stuff. And it was definitely you. And she was like, okay, cool. I have this new nib. I don't know how to use it, so I'm just gonna not. Now, my go-to inks now, because I've been using more gold nib pens and pens that are pricier to me, I have been using shimmer inks less and just kind of using more standard inks. So I was obsessed with Robert Oster Cafe Crema for a while this past year because it just looks like the perfect brown to me. And also, like, oh, you know, there's also the Teranishi Guitar Taisho Roman Nostalgic Honey. I'm obsessed with that one. But yeah, both of them are pretty standard, regular ink colors. I've grown to appreciate it more. Like, it doesn't have to sparkle and shine to be appreciated. Definitely like shading inks and sheen, of course. But I'm okay with calmer inks. And I still love the Hiroshi Izuku line. Question number 3. We have, how have your ink and pen tastes changed over time? I would say the ink taste, because we were just talking about ink, I went from more shimmer inks to more standard inks, but I also still like wearing gold inks a lot. I feel like they're the best shimmer inks that I've ever used. And I'm actually more open to muted tones, like a muted palette now. I wanted like bright and fun inks before, but now I'm obsessed with like browns and earthy tones because brown is almost like black, just with more character. Like, it reminds me of coffee. It's like a softer black. I think for my pen taste, it's definitely gotten more expensive. I remember when I got my Lamy Safari, I bought another Lamy and I was like, I will never pay more for a pen than I did for this pen. I think I paid like $25 for this one, and I thought it was amazing because it's super lightweight, so no strain on the hand, and it's like plastic, so it can take a beating. I mean, don't crush it, but like, it's affordable, and I thought it was just preposterous to spend any more than that. Then I upgraded to a TWSBI Eco. I say upgraded because I bought like a limited edition or a nicer color. And then I didn't know until I was like exploring more pens later that just because they go up in value, it means that it'll be absurdly heavy and I won't be able to use it. Because like the Pilot Metropolitans are actually too heavy. Not too heavy, but like they're uncomfortable for me. But like, I don't know if it's because there's too much metal, maybe. But these are not. These are really nice. And so are the Sailor Pro Gear Slims that I'm also obsessed with now. So I think my pen and ink taste for my pens, I've definitely gotten more expensive. I'm super into gold nib pens. I do still like my steel nib pens for my shimmer inks and fun inks like that, but I really like the way a gold nib feels when you're writing because it's smoother and bouncier usually. It has more give when I'm writing, and I really like that experience. So number 4, are there inks and pens that you have yet to try but would like to? Of course. I have definitely not tried every pen out there. That would be kind of an impressive feat. I've heavily been focusing on Japanese pens. I don't even know how that happened because I really like the Western medium is what I started with. And I thought, oh, I'll never need anything beyond that. Or I was always like medium and up, like medium, broad, etc. And then, as you probably know, the Japanese nibs versus the Western nibs are a little bit different, and they write finer in the Japanese ones. But it's just like the quality that is promised from Japanese brands is just more, I'm more drawn to it. And like, I didn't know I would even like anything below a medium, but I tried the medium fines and the extra fine from Sailor, and I actually really like those. That it's actually really hard to write, talk, and read at the same time. Are there ink and pens that you have yet to try but would like to? I want to try like more Western pen makers like Leonardo, Visconti, things like that, and also maybe some hand-turned ones that would be cool to try. For inks, let me think. I want to try Kobe inks, Van Diemen inks, Troublemaker, and Vinta. Those are just to name a few. I want to try every single ink out there, but I haven't tried any of those. Oh, and Birmingham Pen Company. Those would be cool. Number 5. What is your holy grail pen? So I don't have a holy grail because, well, it depends on how you define it. Because right now, I guess the holy grail is the collab with Hachimanjiya Kubo Sakura pen. A lot of people have it. A lot of people still want it. I still want it, but I don't want to pay the amount that I've been seeing it for on eBay. I don't even know like what the amount was being asked for it when it first came out, but I don't know if I consider it a grail pen because I don't even want to put it on my wish list because that's not the price that I want it for. So like I'm not even considering it unless it like became a possibility. Like I'm not pining after it. Well, I mean, when I see it in people's feeds, I'm like, oh, that's my pen. So maybe that is the definition of a grail pen. I don't know. I guess like I've been kind of trying to be more mindful about my purchases now because I have quite a few pens and I don't know, I just want to like be more intentional about what I want to get next. And I think my next target pen would be like a Lamy 2000, but that's kind of attainable, not like $550 for a Sailor. That's just in a different color, but it's so beautiful. Okay, how many pens do you currently own? You know, that is a good question. I don't know right now. I was gonna look up before this. I was gonna look up my spreadsheet, but my spreadsheet is not it's not updated to include my acquisitions from this year, I think. So let me check my spreadsheet. Do you guys have like an Excel sheet to track your pens? It seems like silly. Maybe it's like the engineer in me. But, I mean, actually, it makes logical sense. Like, if you want to sell them one day, you know what they're worth or like how much you spent on them, you know? And maybe you don't want to know how much you spent on this hobby. But I like to scare myself with the values sometimes to kind of scare myself into not spending anymore. Alright, so I have a stationery wish list. Kind of looks like this. Wish list for fountain pen inks. These are the inks that I own. The brand, color, date purchase, where did I purchase it from, the size, the price I spent, etc. And then a fountain pens. Right now in my Excel sheet we have 32 pens. Wow. Okay. Okay, we have more than that because I ordered more this year and that was like last year. Alright, so cool. I haven't sold any yet, but segue into maybe the next question. 32 pens is so many. Oh gosh. Okay, yeah, alright. Segue into the next question, number 7. Do you have a limit on pens or inks in your collection? Is that a number? Is it a feeling? When do you know that you have reached your maximum? So when I started, I was like, I'm gonna limit myself to 2 pens from each brand. Like, I don't even remember if it was 2 of each model from each brand, like 2 Lamy Safaris and then the Lamy All-Star. Does that count as 3? Or is that 2 Lamy Safaris and I can also get another All-Star? I think it was 2 pens from each brand total, and also 2 bottles of ink from each brand. I thought that was reasonable. Like, not like I'm gonna go out and collect all of this, but it was my limit, like no more than 2. And what happened was I ended up not following that. I followed it for a while, and then I think I broke my ink rule with, was it Ferris Wheel Press? Yeah, Ferris Wheel Press, and also Wearingeul for the inks. That's when I really just went out and bought a crap ton of those inks. And then for pens, it was the Sailors. Oh my gosh. I didn't think I was even gonna like Sailors, but I can't stop buying them now. When do I know I've reached the maximum? I have a 40 pen case from Galen Leather, and I think when I reach that, which is pretty soon, I might consider downsizing or selling some before I buy more, or giving some away, because I don't know, I definitely can't use all my pens at once. I actually do like being able to put them away and not using them every day, the same pen every day, because, or for long periods of time, because I actually do kind of get bored of them if I'm using it for like beyond 1 month, especially with the same ink. So 40 definitely gives me enough to rotate through, but I'm starting to feel like a glutton. For inks, I've also kind of stopped. I love inks. I could swatch them all day and I could buy so many, but I definitely have more than enough. So I've started mixing my own inks to if I want a new color, and hopefully if I'm ever craving more, I can find people to trade samples with. Especially after doing like Inkvent, Diamine Inkvent, I was set on every color of the rainbow basically. And that was one of my goals too, like I wanted one of each color. And now that I did that in 2022, did the Diamine Inkvent, I like can't buy ink anymore because I already have one of each color. Just like the normal rainbow color, not like, you know, this shade of purple versus that shade of purple. Consequently, what would you do if another pen or ink came along? That is question number 8. I should probably say something wise, but I think I would just buy it if I had the funds. If I don't, then I would probably either sell pens to obtain it or just long for it until I can one day obtain it. It is definitely hard to resist new pens, but I feel like I'm reaching a point where I'm comfortable with my collection, and I'm afraid like adding more, I would actually start to not like some of my pens. Some days I still feel like I don't have enough ink. Not that I don't have enough quantity-wise, but I do get bored of colors really quickly. So if another ink were to come along, ink is more affordable, so I could probably just buy it. Yeah, I would probably, if an ink came along, I would probably just buy it. Oh my gosh, I hate admitting that. But because, I don't know why I have this attitude towards samples. They're really useful for learning whether or not you'll like an ink. And I've definitely not liked every ink that I've sampled. So there's so many that saved me from buying so many bottles. But for some reason in my head, I'm like, you get your value's worth with a full-size bottle if you divide the price per milliliter. And also, if you, I don't know, if you have a sample, for some reason, it's never enough for me to like get to know the ink. Like I want to try it in several different pens. I want to do ink swatches. I want to do artwork with them. I want to just like really, really get to know the ink. I should probably be responsible and just say I will buy an ink sample if I have another one that comes along. But we'll see. Alright, well, that was my 8 pen questions. Thank you so much to Simona and Leanne for setting this up. Make sure you check out Danielle from My Dandelion Diaries in the video before me, and Brittany from Plan Your One Life in the video after me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!